You could write code in Notepad. People used to. Almost nobody does now. And the reason isn't fashion, it's that a plain text editor treats your code the same way it treats a grocery list, as text with no idea what any of it means. Here's why this matters, even before you write a single line yourself. Episode 4 puts you inside a real project for the first time. And the tool you're sitting in changes what's actually possible while you're there. An IDE isn't a nicer looking text editor. It's a program that understands the structure of what you're writing, and that understanding is what makes everything later in this series actually workable. Start with what IDE stands for, because it's literally the definition: integrated development environment. Integrated is the operative word. It's not just a place to type, it's your editor, a way to run your code, a way to see errors before you run anything, and a way to search and navigate an entire project, all in one window instead of 5 separate tools. You'd have to juggle yourself. The clearest difference from a plain text editor is that an IDE actually parses your code instead of just displaying it. It knows the difference between a function name and a random word that happens to look similar. That's what makes autocomplete real autocomplete instead of a dictionary guess. What makes an error get flagged with a red underline before you ever try to run anything, and what makes find every place this is used an actual answered question instead of a manual search through every file by hand. This channel uses VS Code, the same one we looked at briefly in episode 1, and the reason is simple. It's free. It's the most widely used editor for this kind of work, and critically for this series. It's exactly what an AI coding agent expects to sit inside of. That last part matters more than it sounds. The integration between your editor and an agent like Claude Code isn't an accident or a nice bonus. It's the entire reason the workflow in episode 7 works at all. If you're finding this useful, subscribing is genuinely the only reliable way the next episode shows up in your feed instead of getting lost. One thing worth being precise about before you install anything: an IDE is not the same thing as your version control system. VS Code doesn't replace GitHub, and GitHub doesn't replace VS Code. They solve different problems, and episode 4 is specifically about where they meet, using both together in a real project for the first time live. So here's what to actually take into that episode. An IDE's whole value is that it understands your code's structure, not just its text. Everything from here forward: real commits, a real pull request, an agent coordinating your editor and your repository together, all depends on that one distinction actually landing before we go further.